All right, welcome back, everybody, to Scale Success Reptile Podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight. Today's a special one because I have my daughter Leilani joining me in, and she's joining me in too because we do this as a family, and then we have a family coming on as a guest tonight. Um, so that's why we're going to do it this way, and have good conversation tonight. So I just want to remind everybody, man, always support USARK Florida, USARK National. Support us here on our channel, subscribe to our channel, like and comment. We're getting really close to the 500 subscriber mark and watch hours. So whenever you have time off, hit the playlist and just play the playlist and watch all the replays for the other podcasts and also our educational and journey videos that we have, what we're doing with our Western hog noses. So make sure you guys are liking that. Wait for a couple people to get on so we can bring on the guest. You have anything you want to say for the people tonight?
No.
Not yet. Just being a little bit of shy, try to get her to break out of her shell and, talk reptile, not just what we're doing, but talk family and reptile. And that's one of our core values of how we do everything in our regular life and within the reptile community. So, Eric's in the building. Thank you for joining. Bosa, the ambassador. Thank you guys. Bailey Royal Beauties. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, again, please, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, make sure we get a good amount of likes. I know we're going to have a good audience tonight for this guest that we have. Gio, thanks for joining. What's going on, man? How things going? So, let me see what we have going on that I want to bring up to you guys before we bring our guest on. So we have a good amount of clutches hatching right now. So stay tuned. We'll be uploading our through our YouTube of what we're hatching, our clutches in more detail. We've been putting little clips here and there on our shorts and in our Instagram. So if you guys have had a sneak peek of what's been hatching here, but we will definitely go into depth of each animal, what was males, what the morphs are. But we still got to actually check some stuff out with we have a couple Arctic pairings, and Arctic is really hard to tell sometimes when it's young. So we got time now. We got to wait till they get a little bigger, a couple meals in, till we get really seeing what they are. Let me see who else is in here. Blue Chip Constrictors, thanks for joining. What's going on? Yeah. So let's start this show. We can get it's already 8:30, so I know sometimes it gets late real quick. So we're gonna bring on our guest in a few seconds. So make sure you hit the like button, and then we'll get our conversation started. All right, welcome Rice Reptiles family. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure having you guys. Like I said, with the family environment, I really want to bring in more families that are working together in the reptile community and industry. And then I see that you have your kids also. It's not just a husband and wife, but it's also your kids involved on a daily basis, right?
My wife does most of our social media stuff and helps out with shipping and everything. And my son is severely autistic, so he can't help out with it really, and he hasn't really taken to animals, but so he's not as involved as we wish he could be. But but my daughter, she helps me with everything. We do everything together with the reptiles, so it's very family oriented.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you something quick because I caught this in the backstage. Do you guys have AirPods or headphones? Because when I speak, it cuts you off on your end if I speak at the same time.
Yeah, we can get them.
All right, yeah, that'd be good.
Last time we tried it, it didn't work as well.
With the AirPods?
Yes.
Okay. What we're doing? Let's see. There's a couple more people trickling in. So yeah, we'll go into conversation when your daughter gets back in. if you want to start introducing yourself, I'll let you introduce yourself because you guys know yourselves better than we do. You know.
Yeah, I'm Billy Rice. We're just we were reptile hobbyists like 9 years ago, and we we've always had other kind of animals, but allergies kind of led us more in the reptile direction, and we just have really enjoyed working with the reptiles with us not having any allergies. But we love all animals, and we deal with the allergy factor just as much, just as much as anybody else with allergies. So that kind of that kind of inhibits some of the other animals that we can work with. But we love reptiles, and it just kind of one thing led to another, and we've went from a hobby to kind of a hobby business, and now just a full time business.
I hear that. And that's I've never heard that point of view of why reptiles, right? With the thought of allergies. That's a great, motivational point, selling point on why to get reptiles. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody's ever talked about that.
yeah, 100% hyperallergenic.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So I'll wait till you guys get those AirPods in.
Okay, try to find those. Sorry, those aren't charged. We're having to find another pair.
No, no worries. I get it. I get it. So just going through
So
the
we're a little unprepared.
It happens. Was it last episode? My AirPods weren't charged either, and I had to go cord
Yeah,
with the cord. You know, um,
yeah. The last one we did, the AirPods didn't work out so well, so we ended up taking the AirPods out. So that's why I didn't even have them available for this one. It didn't.
mm,
So
mhm,
I just think it worked well.
yeah, yeah. It's just the feedback. If you're speaking and I speak, there's a little bit of feedback, and it'll cut you out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure I pause until she's trying to find another set. My
No worries.
wife's
No
not.
worries.
My wife's not here
You're
right now. She's
okay.
my wife's kind of had a little family emergency. She's had to go to the hospital with her family, but or she would have been on with us. But
Well, I
anyway,
appreciate you guys. Are still here and made it happen. If I would have understood. I have my other little one on today. Say hi.
hey,
You know, um, so that's our younger one, and see she's just as involved as as my older daughter and getting stuff done
beautiful.
here in the reptile room. Thank you, thank you. You good? Yeah. So yeah. So you're talking about okay.
Okay.
So you're talking about going towards the reptiles because of allergies and other stuff. Do you guys have dogs and stuff, or you guys just went reptiles?
Yes, we do have dogs. We just we have to just like we have a dog, dogs and cats in our house, but we don't have carpet and we don't allow them to get in our beds and things like that. And we
Mm,
are allergic to them, but not as much as we are like to horses and some of the other animals.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. See, we just rescued a cat, and I thought from being when I was younger, I was highly allergic to cats. But with this cat, as long as I don't like rub him and rub my face, I'm okay. I could be around it, it can be in the house as long as I rub him and then my face. So, I think things allergies develop, or you grow out of them and stuff as you get older. But yeah.
Yeah, we our excuse me, our 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 biggest problem is with our dogs. We're more allergic to our dogs than our cat. Our cat is fine, like I
Oh,
with it, but I love our dogs and, and we're allergic to them. But we just deal with it. It's not a severe allergy like some of our other allergies are, so we just deal with it.
wow. Okay. Yeah. So you were saying earlier you guys were reptile hobbyists. So how long have you guys had reptiles, or were you into the reptiles, and or did your kids get you into reptiles and then you guys became hobbyists?
Well, I had a few reptiles growing up, like a Chinese water dragon and just some other things like that. But my daughter mostly got me into it because she started wanting to have blue tongue skinks because she just liked the way the tongue looks and liked the way the lizard looked overall. And she was real young. She was only 4 years old, so she just thought they were really cool. She didn't have any fear of anything. I mean, she loved scary movies back then, and she loved she loved snakes and things like that. So I kind of had a fear of them back then. So I
Mm.
kind of had to warm up to the idea, not of lizards and other reptiles, but I did have a fear of snakes when we first started. Not a major fear, but just a mild fear of them. And so as we're not going to have ear pods. Sorry
It's
about
all
that.
right. It's fine.
All right. Well, we'll be more prepared
We'll
next time.
we'll work
But
through it. We'll work through it.
anyway, so we went down and checked out the blue tongue skinks, but all they had was a few adults. Nobody had any for sale, and this was at the Orlando Repticon, and so this is 9 years ago now. And so Channing goes over to a booth, and a lady has a ball python out, and she wraps one around her waist. And I tell my wife, we can't get anything else. Nothing else is at the show right now, really, other than like some tortoises and other things. So we ended up bringing 3 ball pythons home, and that's what started all of this. Now we've got 600-700 of them.
Wow. Wow. That's a great story too, because sometimes maybe that was the right animal for you, right? And there wasn't blue skinks at that time, right? And the ball
That's right.
pythons was
It
what
was meant.
what yeah, it was meant to be, right? Yeah. Yeah. See, with us, it's I had turtles and iguanas. I grew up in New Jersey, so I had turtles and iguanas when I was growing up in high school and stuff. Got out of them once I went to the Marine Corps, and I never really thought about it because it wasn't the norm, right? I never thought about it, and then I think maybe like 3 years ago, they're watching Snake Discovery, and they're like, "Oh, we want a hognose snake." I was like, "I've never heard of those before." And I put it off for a while. I go, it's going to be another pet. It's going to be more work, all that other stuff. But they kept asking. So then we went one day to the reptile store and picked one up. And like you said, from one, it turned, we have what, 25 25 breeders right now between males and females. And then we have like, looks like we're going to have like 140, 150 hatchlings this year.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it grew really fast.
Yeah. It doesn't take long. I mean, with reptiles, you can fit so many in a small square footage that it's really a fun hobby to have because it doesn't take much space. And like we're going to have probably 90 something hognose babies this year. So we're super
Nice.
excited this year. Yeah, we only have 9 breeder females. So
Great. Yeah. Yeah. That's what we had this year, 9 breeder females. 8 of them laid, and I think 5 or 6 double clutched.
that's
So
great.
they did really well for us this year. And this is our first year breeding of them. Is this your first year or your second?
This is our second year, and we're noticing that like our males, the same ones that didn't breed for us last year, are not breeding for us this year. So I think we got a few males we may need to rotate out. But
You got some
uh,
duds. Yeah.
yeah, we did the same thing last year, and but we've got some really good stuff growing up compared to what we had to start with. When we got into the ball pythons too, we started out as just hobbyists and just wanted to own nice snakes and didn't really look at the business side of it. But now we look at the business side of it as well as the hobby side because we're doing everything that we love to do. We just want to do it
Mhm.
on a higher level now. So now we're wanting to upgrade our hognose because Channing really loves hognose. That's her thing is working with the hognose. She basically runs that entire thing herself. I hope for very little.
That's great. That's cool. I was going to ask you, how did you get into the hog nose? Yeah.
You
Okay.
want to ask?
And yeah, how did you? Where did you first see them? What made you like the hog nose?
I don't know. I was just looking around at different species that we might want, and I love the hognose. I love the pink pastels. Whenever I first started, I just loved them, and Daddy got me a good bit of them, and then we just got into them.
It's great. Yeah. And I'm afraid to say it, they're the one of the cutest snakes ever. You see their little face, they're cute. You know,
Yeah, they are.
and I think it's a perfect species for young children and people that might be afraid of snakes to dabble in because of the cuteness factor of it. You know?
And a hugely popular species right now is we've went and just decked the table out with these high end nice ball pythons, and our hognose just sell like crazy for the ball pythons. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And two, there's not many. I mean, this year there's a good amount. I think this year has been the highest uptick of how many people are producing hognose. Um, but still, it's not that many that are actually setting up at shows and putting out hognose to sell at shows, especially.
Oh yeah, and the demand's still very high. That shows that the demand's really high.
Mhm. Yeah. Where are you guys located?
We're in a very small town in South Georgia. It's Homerville, Georgia, and
Homerville,
it's
Georgia.
across in Valdosta. You probably couldn't find Homerville on a map. We only have
Okay.
two red lines.
I've been to some small towns in Georgia with my Marine Corps buddies. I have a buddy that lives in like still lives there, Somerville, Georgia.
Yeah,
And then every year we also go to Cordell, and stuff for that. So I'm
we're probably, I'd say, an hour south of Cordele.
okay. Cool. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. We have a friend. I have one of my Marines buried there, so we go every year to go visit his grave and his family and stuff. So we make the trek every year with a group of Marine Corps buddies, and now we take the families and our kids. Everybody has kids, so we do a whole family trip out of there.
That's cool. We really appreciate your service.
Oh, my pleasure. It was my pleasure. Um, say my wife was also a Marine, so we actually met at the recruiting station. So we're a family of military people.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So ball pythons. How long have you been doing ball pythons, and like when did you decide to start breeding and do it as a business?
Well, as soon as so my main thing with the reptiles was to get my daughter involved in a business of some sort. And with
Mm,
animals, there's a huge amount of responsibility that comes with animals. And so, with the responsibility that you have with animals, I wanted to teach her business skills, but also responsibility at the same time. And I wanted her to be able to graduate, high school and know how to balance a checkbook and reconcile a bank statement and things like that. Things they don't teach you in school. So that's where the hobby led toward a business, because my dad did the same thing with me basically, and we did it with different animals, but because we owned a farm then we had cows and different things. So I want to do the same thing with reptiles with her. So that kind of led from it being just some pets to hobby to business hobby, and then now me and my wife are involved in this very serious business, but still our hobby at the same time. I mean, like I said, we're super passionate about it, and absolutely love the animals.
and I like to hear that because when we decided the same thing as okay, we had I think four hog noses, and then we're like, well, let's breed, and then we started looking at the market and what's out there. We go, we could probably run this as a business. So that was one of the biggest things. It's if we do it as a business, everybody's going to be involved. The girls are going to work, with the snakes and cleaning and all that stuff. And the same thing, it gives them a sense of, small scale running the business, and like you said, expenses, checkbooks, all that good stuff. That they don't learn until they hit the real world, and then I think then it's too late.
Yeah, it is. It's way too late then. That's the point I wanted to. I wanted to instill in Channing the way to be able to take care of herself, and the independence to be able to think outside the box when it comes to what kind of income you can have for yourself, not just be a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor. Be able to create more than that if you want to. But if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, that's fine too. But I wanted her to learn to create and have the creativity to be able to create businesses and things like that. And this is just helping along the way for us all to love what we're doing while we're being able to educate in that fashion.
I hear that. Yeah, that's great. So And then, so you right now you're doing ball pythons, hognose, and you also mentioned you're doing geckos, right? Is it crested geckos?
Yes, my wife and daughter have started crested geckos, and I'm on board because it leads to me getting leeches.
Okay. Yeah, we have I don't know if you ever met Noelle, Two Girls Geckos is a mother and daughter team. They do crested geckos too. So I've talked to them a little bit. I'm trying to get them on the show because it's a mother and daughter, and I think they started when the daughter was like in within the teenage years, and they're still going at it. They still have they do shows and all that stuff, and she told me it's built definitely a relationship, a better relationship within them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm struggling with a cold.
Oh no, man.
Excuse me. Anyway, yeah, it's definitely developed a bond between us and our family. So we really enjoy the time that we get to spend together with it, and the traveling to shows and spending time with people at the shows and things like that. We've really bonded together as a family, but we've also bonded with the community because it's just there's so many great people out here like you guys that are doing it as a family and doing it just as friends. We have friends that are partners that come, do
Hmm.
business with us, and we get to know them, and it just creates a great atmosphere to have so many good people working together in this industry.
I agree. Yeah, we've built, like you said, great friendships through just the hognose community, and then now certain ball python communities and stuff like that. When you find that common bond on the reptiles, it yes, you want to no, you cannot try the energy drink. When you find that bond of reptiles, it's like it's different from anything else. My wife tells me, how can you talk to these reptile peoples for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes on the phone, even, and some other friends, you just talk to them for 20 minutes and that's it. I go, because we're talking about the most of the time the snakes, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Um, yeah, that's what we've built such a good relationship with everyone, and that's what led to our partnership with Canova. Is just getting to know him and his family. Like with Justin, we got to know Justin and his family, and we had the same values and morals, and just bonded as good friends, and the way our families were together, we just really enjoyed it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, same thing with us. Aslan and Exotic Fire Hogs. I bought our second and third hog nose from him. And then, they live about 30, 40 minutes away from us. So we started building a friendship. And honestly, I wouldn't have such a great year, or I think such a leap from getting hog nose to breeding, if I wouldn't have made that friendship and being able to pick his brain and actually work at his, reptile, location, just because being hands on and be able to pick somebody's brain that has been doing it for so many years, and then just develop a friendship is just is another plus of it.
Yeah, that's something that I enjoy. I've found out through this that I enjoy teaching more than I thought I would.
Mm,
I'm a business owner and entrepreneur, but I never did a lot of our training for our employees. I always hired really highly trained employees, and but now I've learned through working with mentors through this, and then mentoring people through with this in this industry, that I really enjoy teaching and educating people on how to go be very successful with running their business and breeding reptiles and any type of reptiles that we're carrying, and that's something that really helped me was dealing, going one learning all that and then starting to pass it on to people. But then it went to the next level when I was able to visit Canova and learn a lot from Justin several times. Like I've went up and just spent like weeks with him learning exactly how the facility works, and that's helped me a lot to bring all that back and implement it here, and then just fine tune some things that I like, and we've really taken off with really high breeding success because of that.
no, that's great. And that's, I think, being able to put yourself out there to get that information is important. Doing a podcast like this, doing YouTube, social media is very important in the day and age now. You touched on something about business. Um, you know, if you don't mind saying, you said you've been an entrepreneur before and you run other business. What other type of business do you run, and how long have you been doing them?
Well, we've been in the timber industry for right at 20, so it'll be 28 years now. And so we've been in the timber industry that long, and I've grown that to 3 separate businesses. And we also have a small trucking company. And then we do some real estate. And we sold a bunch of our real estate, though, to invest in ball pythons, believe it or not. But it was a time. That's the thing with real estate. There's times that you need to swap your investment over. Either we needed to sell in that location and buy in another, or we just needed to reinvest the money somewhere else. So we're at the perfect time at a peak in the market, and so we took some of that money and bought into ball pythons.
That I think that was a great move, especially in the real estate situation that's right now, where it's definitely a seller's market.
Oh yeah,
Be able to cash out and reinvest into another business. A very smart move on your part, I think.
yeah.
You know?
And it's the buyer's market in the ball python industry right now. So this is when the market's a little bit correcting itself like it is right now. It's a great time
Mhm.
for people to invest in. And I encourage everyone to keep buying and not be scared, because it's definitely going to rebound from this little tiny recession. That it'll go right back up, and we'll all be back to doing well with it. And animals won't be sitting as often as they are right now. We just got a lot of inflation in the economy right now, and all that's going to pass.
I'm glad you touched on that point because like you said, people are holding back and might be afraid to invest into the next project that might take them to the next level within their breeding projects, right? And are probably waiting to see what's going to happen with the market, within just the regular economy and within the reptile community. And I think if they wait, they might miss that opportunity, and it's going to go back up, and they're gonna be regretting it. It's like, don't regret what your past, but sometimes you regret it. I've had a regret. Sometimes I see an animal on morph market and I think about it for a week, go back and look at it, and it's gone.
Yeah,
you know
I've done it to where I see it, and the next day it's gone. So yeah, I know exactly how you feel about that.
if you're able to pull the trigger and do it, if it's in your plan and you're able to sustain it, I say do it, because those higher end animals that are going to set you to your next level of breeding, or maybe the project that you want to get into, aren't going to last long, because it is trends of what morphs are going to be hot at that moment, right? And I think that's another interesting part about where I was actually talking to one of my friends earlier about what's going to be the next morph within either hognose, ball pythons, on how it's going to evolve, right? Um, so, what are your thoughts on the ball python community? Like, where, how much more growth does the ball python either market or community has?
Well, I think it's got plenty of room, and I think there's a lot of people that are gonna and unfortunately get out of it because they lose heart in this situation that we're in, and they lose their focus on what their dream was to start with. Because a lot of people get into stuff now. We're, as a society, we're just so predetermined for everything to happen right now. Like everything's got to happen for us immediately. And that's just not the way reptiles are. You've got to grow them out, and you've got to work projects for 10, 15, 20 years. And that's where I see the industry at right now. I see there will be a lot of correction right now because of production that was up. And this will drive a lot of people away. But the people that stay in it and hang in there and make it through it, they'll come out on top in the end. And all of these amazing projects that we're seeing in the ball python industry and any of the other industries, crested geckos or boas, anything, all those animals that are the top animals right now, we're just seeing we think we've worked to a peak, and now it's downhill because we're going multi-recessive. But once we get these multiple recessives, then we've got another 10, 15, 20 years of making crazy animals in each one of these projects. It's going to take a lot of time to work that in. I mean, people worry about genetic testing and things shortening the time it takes to get there. It may shorten it, but it's also going to speed the fact that we get to that next level where we see another base product and or platform to work off of with all these genetics.
I like that. Yeah, I agree with you on, especially on the genetic testing and the time frame, because even like you said, it might shorten one breeding season, but you still got to grow that animal out. Stop pulling on her. You still got to grow that animal out. It's still going to take you time, and then like you said, it's going to be able to. You're going to have to be able to. You're going to be able to pair better instead of just taking those shots in the dark of possible heads or even maybe new genetics proving out.
And we see great combos all the time in all species of reptiles, great combos put together, especially in ball pythons because of the amount of morphs that we have. There's plenty of base combos that we can continue to build off of. And the more we get them, more we get double, triple, quadricessos. When we get those animals and we see these great combos, then we've got that whole other platform to work on off of. And that'll just take it to the next level to where we can continue to stack and continue to work just amazing animals.
I agree. And then, and we're gonna go back and forth because you guys, are doing hog nose and ball pythons. And then on the hog nose, you're so early on that those, I think we're just hitting 4 genes animals this year. So like the the upscale on that, it's an infinite right now, and be able to create world first and just crazy genetics right now. I'm really excited for the hognose community.
Yeah,
Okay.
it has a great future because the more we have in captivity breeding, the more likely we're going to find new genes to just spur further exploration with what we're wanting to do with them.
Mhm. So what's your favorite? I know you said you like PPA, right? What's your favorite breeding that you have this year with the hognose?
Right now we have an Arctic, Xanthic, Anaconda, head albino male. I can't remember what the female was exactly. Well, right now we have about 15 good eggs in the incubator. Her first clutch this year, and she already had another one, and there's 9 good eggs.
So that pair she's talking about is going to be, we have Arctic and Anaconda Xanthic male that's het albino. So we're going to have Arctic snows and possible albinos and Arctic. Let's see, I don't think we can have a super Arctic in that. We may be able to have a super Arctic. But anyway, we'll be able to have Xanthics and snows and things like that, different combos.
Yeah, Arctic snows are really nice too. Yeah, because the pairing you said the male is Arctic, Conda, Xanthic, het albino.
Yeah, he's Arctic Conda, Xanthic, het albino, and then the female is I think a Conda het. But she's already produced for us last year, and we hit some great odds with it. So it's still going to be a great pairing. But I'm pretty sure she proved Arctic in the pairing last year, but I'm not positive because of the male being there. But we had an abnormal ratio of Arctics, but we didn't hit a super Arctic. So we could have just had great odds, or either we got a super Arctic in the mix.
Yeah, I had that with our first clutch this year. Was a triple A male, so Arctic albino anaconda male to a Arctic conda possible het. No, it was actually she was het albino. One super conda, and it seems it was only eight egg clutch, and 5 went full term and hatched. But it looks like we got, was it 4 albinos? Looked at the all Arctic and 1 normal Arctic. So it's like everything that hatched out is Arctic and a super conda. So it looks like we didn't get any supers, Arctics, but we got really good odds on the Arctic. So
yeah,
it was 6. Yeah, it was 6 and 1 didn't hatch. You're right. See, that's why I have her around. She corrects me. Yeah. So yeah, we have that, and so yeah, I think if that female is Arctic, then you'll definitely hopefully get some super with 15 eggs. Then you should hit a super Arctic there.
Definitely. And has she done the flush?
Which one?
That female we're talking about.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. She has her yes, when I was talking about her first clutch, she had I'm pretty sure about 15 good eggs. And her second clutch this year, she's had about 9 good eggs.
Well, you definitely have a good chance of hitting the super Arctic, and then possibly even a super Arctic snow. That would be really really cool to see that.
yeah,
My
that would.
fingers are crossed for you guys on that.
Thank you. We need some luck with them.
Yeah.
We
We've
learned.
only- Sorry.
Go ahead.
We've only had about 1 snow, but she's growing
Okay.
really good. Really big. We should be able to breed her pretty soon.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think next year we're gonna start our snow project. We have a purple line extreme red albino super anaconda head Azantic female. I'm picking up a snow male. So hopefully next year, late next year, we can get her breeding and get some. Hopefully, prove out that Azantic and get some really cool snows out of there.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, sure. And then so like you have that pairing, and then you said you have about 90 eggs this year, right? Or 90. You should get about 90 hatchlings on the
About,
hognose.
about 91 in the incubator so far.
Nice.
Yeah, we have 91 eggs in the incubator so far, so that'll be maybe how many more it's gonna lay, you think?
About 3 more.
So we should
Okay.
get 3 more, which we've got a couple that may lay for the first time. So hopefully we get that. But if we get 100 this year, we're gonna be really happy.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I think like I said, we had I think the females laid at like 100. We put it into incubator. I think like 150 something. But with ratios of some not going all the way or maybe not fully fertile, I think we're gonna probably hit like the 130, 140 mark of actual hatchlings. So pretty good. Will you guys be at Daytona this year?
Yes, we will. We're gonna be at a bookend table with Justin. Justin's gonna have Clutch there, so his new software. So yeah, everybody stop by and see us there. We'll definitely be vending Daytona.
Cool. Yeah, we're definitely going to be vending too. This will be our first year, our first show vending for ourselves. But we're going to be set up with our friend Exotic Fire Hogs at Daytona too. So we'll definitely stop by, say hi, and maybe talk some hog noses and stuff.
Yeah, we look forward to it. I'm sure Shannon will be down there. She got to see Jeff Gelwood at Tinley for the first time, and she had a collection of hognose on the table in the tubs where he was selling them, and she's just sitting there wrapping them up like this, holding on to the whole thing. Somebody's gonna steal them from her.
That's good. I had Jeff. I think 2 months ago. I had him on my podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we it was a good one. We talked about a lot about was it his polygenics he works with, the Swiss chocolate stuff. You know, so I'm really excited about the Swiss chocolate.
Yeah, I am too. We don't have that yet. I'm excited to get that. We did get Lemon Ghost and Lemon Ghost Woma from Jeff, and we got a Sunburst male. So we're super excited to get that into the bear because we didn't have Sable at all.
Really, yeah. Sable. I hatched a handful of sables last week, I believe, and just seeing them hatch really like cemented my like how much I like the sable gene because I have a visual female and then two or three males like yeah 3 males are het sable but seeing all these little babies sables hatch and the different shades of the browns and the chocolate color I was like okay this might be my new favorite gene for sure. What's up?
So you'd pick them over the toxic?
I think so, yeah. No. Yeah. The toxic was like my favorite first combo, and that's like what really caught my eye to like hognose. I was like, wow, I want to produce that. We'll produce some this year. But I think definitely the sable gene is probably gonna be my favorite now.
Yeah, we've been trying to produce
She's in
some
shed.
Oh, she's in shed.
We've been trying to produce toxic for a couple of years now. We haven't hit it, so maybe this year.
I've heard about toxics not being able. They're hard to hit for some reason. Even like a visual to a head, like the ratios are not there compared to like the other genetics.
That's weird.
So
It makes me wonder if that's the polygenic type trait versus being an actual recessive or
a
something.
recessive, maybe, but then you have toffees and then you have Xantics. So like you hit on toffees and Xantic. I mean, maybe it's just like I wonder if it like might be sits on the same allele, and it's hard to hit on that. So I think I'm really excited too for the genetic testing on the hognose.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been messaging people, my friends, is like start collecting your sheds, start sending them in because I want to be able to start sending some of these sheds in.
yeah. I'm holding Green Tree sexing tests right now, just waiting for them to dial it in a little better so that I can send more of those in.
Yeah. I think that's going to change our industry for the better, in my opinion, at least. On the sexing, the genetics, and being prove things out quicker. I think it's going to better everything overall.
Yeah, I think so. I like the aspect of being able to guarantee someone that something's in there that we've because with us, if we think it's there and we're pretty sure and we're like 80% that a gene's there, and we call it a possible. Now, if we say it's probable, we're 99% sure that we think it's there, but we're still not going to call it or charge you for it. So it's got to be 100% with us that we believe it's there. Not saying we can't make a mistake, but we absolutely believe it's there before we call it. So some of these genes that are just so mild, like makes a snake 10% better, but that 10% is really a big thing. It's going to work great to be able to tell someone that the snake that gene is actually there. When we're guessing, and we can actually have a test and be 100%.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Because this year, especially starting off, I gambled on certain heads. Um, and certain heads I've gotten really lucky. Hitting on the heads like 66%. This morning we had a Arctic lavender possible head male bred to a super anaconda albino female. And just like I think like an hour before the show, before the podcast, we had the first albino pip out of that clutch. So I was like, okay, we got a coral maker there. So that was pretty cool. And then what else? One of our original male we bought was sold to us as a pure normal, no heads, no condas, nothing like that. Not knowing much about it, we bought him. After looking at him and looking more into the genetics, I was like, okay, he's at least conda, and he's actually like a tiger stripe pattern. Um, so we bred him. I was like, well, let's breed him to one of the albino females. We'll get albinos, some condas. Have some pet market animals. Somebody that's looking just to get into hog noses, and we got like I think out of the clutch we got like 8 albinos. So he proved that albino, not knowing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, we've gotten really lucky on the genetics this year. And then I was working on the permafrost project, so the sable caramel hypo. I had 66% het female for all three and 100% het male, and we got at least the sables out of there also.
That's very nice.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got a desert ghost pied proof hypo. So we were happy with that this year. That was kind of a surprise. Hypo's running around in a lot of the first desert ghost stuff. So that was pretty cool to have that prove out. So that we basically can make triple recessives with him now. So that's nice.
That is cool. Yeah, I think that's always a plus. And I was telling one of my friends, and they were telling me like, at this point, especially in hognose, and I'm pretty sure in ball pythons, like it's rare to find an animal that's not het for something. You
Yeah.
know, like we've been breeding for so long. Like most of these animals are het for something. Maybe this forgot to label it, didn't remember, or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, there's no telling what with once you can genetic test for everything, you go buy a snake from the pet store and genetic test it. It's liable to have everything in it.
Yeah,
Until you pop up.
yeah. It's like I need to shed test that animal before I buy it.
Yeah, yeah.
Be good. So, so for the ball pythons, how many animals are you guys producing this year?
So we just had our 36 clutch, and I could see us being between 60 and 70, just depending on how many of our younger females go versus maybe we hold off. If they don't develop follicles really early on, we'll push them probably till the fall, and so they'll roll over into our next breeding season. So
Okay.
so yeah, I see us maybe at 60 to 70 clutches, and that'd be on the that'd be perfect because that'd be double the production we had the year before.
Well, that's great. That's great. I mean, yeah, you guys are on track. Doubling from the previous year. I think you guys are doing great. Good.
Yeah,
How was your? What was
we're
that?
really that because we our best stuff is like we're still like we're having great stuff this year, but like next year and the year after that, some of our really hard hitting stuff will be available then, and we're excited for the upgrades that we'll have, and the parents we'll be able to make then are going to be just astronomically ahead of where we are now.
And then I was gonna ask you. So, where do you guys see yourselves within both? The hognose. I mean, actually, all three hognose, ball pythons, and crested. Like on the breeding scale, you guys looking to keep expanding, adding more, or just being steady on what you currently have?
Well, it kind of depends on where my family goes with things. My deal is the ball pythons, and then as my favorite hobby animal right now that may be a business animal, but will mostly always be a hobby animal. I love green tree pythons. So for me, it's the ball pythons. For Channing, her love right now, she loves the ball pythons, but her biggest love is the hognose snakes, and then with my wife, she loves the crested geckos more, which she likes all three as well. So it's just kind of up in the air as far as where we go, just with whatever we love as a family. But we're very serious about the ball pythons. That's what I love, and I'm super serious about that. That's where most of our investments have went in it. And but we do like other animals, so we'll probably keep a lot of other species as just pets for fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. See, with us, we're definitely gonna just concentrate on the hognose for now. 'Cause I enjoy them, they enjoy it. Um, One species that I personally want to get into, it's a monkey-tailed skinks. I think they're pretty cool. But you need a large area because they're communal. So it is cool. And, talking about like because you run a successful business in the timber industry, right? And it's multiple business. You said, like, how do you manage your time with that business and then the reptiles?
You just do not sleep. No, like seriously, I work 60 to 80 hours every single week before I step foot into the reptile industry, reptile business. So, but that saying, I'm in my reptile room every morning, every evening, and I get everything done. We do have two full-time employees, but we also have a big rodent facility. So we have a really large rodent facility. We we're so rural here that we have to produce all our rodents. We could never drive and get them. We'd be driving, like 4 or 5 hours to pick up rodents, so we're just not going to do that. So we'll always have to produce our own rodents, and so the way I manage my time is things that are very important. I do it on my day off from the timber industry, like on Saturdays or Sunday evenings. I do the most important things with the reptiles then, and then I have one employee that helps us in the ball python room about 8 hours a week, doing like the full cleans, and I go through and check everything and let her know which ones I want full clean. And then she does the hatchlings on an as needed basis as they need cleaning. And my daughter helps with that as well. She's very involved with the ball pythons as well. She helps me with all our feedings. Um, we basically do those on Sunday evenings really late. So we're able to balance it by I just take up more time on my days off, and then when we have shows and things, I just have to work it into my schedule. Like I may have to come home just a few hours early to get a little bit of that done. But the timber industry does take the vast majority of my time, and one day, I'll slow down some and be able to manage my time both ways more than I am now. But right now, the timber industry is allowing us to invest in more animals, so we keep on and keep doing what we got to do.
I hear that. Yeah, that's great. And like like you said, you have employees, and then you have your daughter and your wife to help you out. I couldn't do this 100% if I didn't have the help of my daughters, my wife, because my wife will come in, and especially with the hatchlings now, she's getting really good at getting the hatchlings to eat their first meal. So I got to give her props for that with
That's
the
what
hog nose
Channing is very good at that. That's what she does. I have carpal tunnel from running so much heavy machinery.
machinery. Yeah.
Yeah, my hands give me a fit, and feeding those little baby hognose snakes is such a chore for me because my hands start cramping and hurting a little bit. And with the ball pythons, have no issue with that. So I love our hognose snakes as well. That's the main part I don't like. That was interesting that you brought that up because Channing's great at that. So I'm able to give her just a little bit of genetic advice that she needs, and she just takes off and runs with the full care of the hognose. She pairs them, she does everything. I just help her with a breeding plan, and that's it.
That's great. That's really cool. Yeah. See, and then like so that's one thing with this summer, with my daughters. It's usually they go to camps and stuff like that. I think they went 2 weeks of camp, and then I was like, all right, you guys are gonna stay in this summer and work on the snake room during the day, and just have fun at the around the neighborhood. So it's I think another different experience of life, right? For later on, it's like okay, I didn't spend my summer in a camp all summer. I actually worked and started, working on a business and all that stuff. Last year, she actually bought her own with her own money, her own first snake. Was it a purple line conda double head coral, so albino lavender female.
Wow,
So next year, no, one more year after that. I think another year and a half, and she'll be able to start breeding her own, full side project on that one.
that's very cool.
Yeah, you're breeding your own project.
Yeah, because Peaches is me and Ava's.
That's true. Yeah, but that snake you have your money invested in and your time.
Yeah.
So it's different. When you have your own money invested, it's definitely different than just working on an animal. You definitely take your time more. You take the details more personal, right? 'Cause you have something invested in it.
Exactly. That's exactly the best way to look at it too. When you get skin in the game, you care more.
100%. Yeah, for sure. So, we talked ball pythons, hognose. Um, how many are you guys doing shows pretty often, or it's whenever you guys can get the time in?
Well, there's all the shows of a lot of shows have been booked, so we're trying to work in more shows than what we're doing because we we've had just great support from the community, and we love we want to get to some of the smaller local shows close to us because we just had so much support there and so many people wanting to see us. And a lot of those shows for us are just about meeting people. It's not all about sales. And we want to get out and meet everybody and talk to everybody and put a face with a name, where we're communicating with these people all the time. And so we're wanting to do more of that. It's just we gotta get some space and get into some shows at a big enough booth for us to set up enough tables. And so we're looking forward to it a lot more. We are doing Arlington twice a year. We're doing St. Louis. We're doing Schaumburg, but we're trying our best to get into Tinley. We're working on it. We don't know if we're going to be there this fall yet or not, but we're hoping so. hopefully, if
Yeah.
not fall, definitely by spring.
That's definitely a hard one to get into, and I've heard through the grapevines is that wait list is not short. You know,
No, not at all. We did the Jacksonville Repticon this year, which is a smaller show, but we loved it. We did really well there and met a lot of people that we've been communicating with, uh, and we're doing Daytona this year. We're trying to do Tampa, so we're gonna try to do maybe Atlanta as well. We're gonna work in more shows, and the more we can slow down in life, the easier doing shows will be.
for sure. Yep. And then you guys, you mentioned that Clutch that Justin's gonna have the booth with Clutch there in Daytona. Are you guys using Clutch?
Yes, we are. It's awesome. That's I mean it's evolving still, and there's a lot that Justin's going to add to that. So it's still a work in progress, but it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's going to be game changing software for all of us to utilize, and you know, as he decides, if he decides to change it over to other species, there's a lot of other species where the lineage part of breeding reptiles will come into play through Clutch, because that's what it's going to help track a lot of. Is he built that to be able to manage his business. Then we become partners, and he started a second facility with Heath at Mice Direct, and then it becomes something that he nurtured into something that would join our partnerships together better, so we can work together and see what's going on in each other's facilities. Now it's kind of something that's great for the community. As he decided to take it to the public, it's going to really change things. I mean, as it moves into maybe way down the road, some other species and things like that, it's going to really connect the lineage. Like I can see green tree guys and crested gecko people really using that a lot. But for right now, it's really going to hone in the ball python people, and what's going on in their collections, and linking us to each other a little bit, so you can see like what's in our incubator and what's coming up in the future. It's going to be great for that.
That's cool. Yeah. So we personally use Husbandry Pro um, for the hog noses, and I love it. So I could just imagine how good the Clutch is working too. And I don't think I could be able to remember every portion of it, of breeding pairs and what Clutch came from what, if I didn't have Husbandry Pro. It would be a lot of spreadsheets or notebook writing.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot more work than it needs to be, I think.
Yeah, we have a simple system. So even though we have Clutch, everything of ours is tracked on paper and on spreadsheets as well. So we have Clutch spreadsheets and paper in on each tub. So we're making sure we're crossing the T's and dotting the I's as far as tracking the genetics. Because man, with you just can't chance anything with ball pythons, with the way that there's so many genetics involved now, and we've got to know exactly what's going on in each pair. And it's just something that we can't take any chance on anything being wrong.
I agree because I mean, you guys are ball python community starting to hit on like 6, 8 gene animals, correct? And sometimes even after they hatch and you're looking at them, it's like, all right, what do we have here, right? If it's possible a 6, 8 gene animal, what genes are actually being expressed? So I guess keeping those records helps solidify what's the outcome of that pairing.
Yeah, and if all genes are visual in one, when you're getting 6 and 7 genes deep, if somebody doesn't know the pair, and even the best people, they can guess close. But there's still those plenty of genes out there that are 10, 15, 20% better. You're not going to know that if you don't know the correct pairing on it.
I agree. And then, so on your experience with Clutch, and I'll give my point of view on Husband Pro. Some people might say that it's extra work trying to input the information or input the animals and log certain activities. What are you guys? I'm not sure how Clutch work. Are you guys tracking like feeding, shedding, pairing, stuff like that, or is just really lineage and what's called and genetics?
It's mostly genetics right now. It's going to evolve into more than that. it's mostly genetics and pairing. The breeder side of that's coming on really soon. If it hasn't already updated yet, it's really soon. Um, so it will evolve into a lot more than it is right now. But the most important thing is the genetic lineage, because with it tracking it that far out, like say 10 generations from now, if we find some new recessive, we're going to be able to track back through clutch to not only our animals, but to every animal we've sold. As long as you keep the ID number, we'll be able to let you know you have a chance of having this morph.
Okay. Yeah. And, that's very interesting because of the DG testing that's been, that came up, and all the little bit of, maybe I say, confusion that happened with DG after the testing. And if it is like line bred, then that would help out a lot, right? If you guys can track, if a breeder can track from what lineage is coming from, and if somebody starts breeding it out, it'll definitely just make it better.
Yeah, I agree with. I saw a few people posting, if you think Desert Ghost is going down in value, sell me your females. I was like, oh yeah, sell me your females.
I hear that? Yeah, yeah. Send them over here. I'll deal with it.
Yeah, we'll take on your bad genetics.
Yeah, yeah. You see, and that's funny because with in the hognose Swiss chocolate, right? There was people, maybe they were still because this is the first year that Jules Toff, the guy that found the Swiss chocolate, bred Sable and Swiss chocolates together, and he actually, I think, like a couple days ago, he got hatchlings out of there, and basically proved out they're two different genes.
Wow.
And yeah, two people were still on the fence, like maybe it's just a different line of Sable. Um, so actually, now it's proven that it's two separate genes out there now.
Did he get one that put those genes together?
He did, yeah,
How
he
did it
did.
turn out? Is he shown?
I'll bring it up. Actually, I have. Let me see. Let me get it up on Instagram. I'll share. Um, it's definitely a lot darker. Let's see, Swiss. And like I said, I really enjoy the Swiss chocolate. Let me see, where does he have? Is it this one?
So you take that and super Arctic and darken these snakes up. Now we can really go crazy with our lavender and albino projects.
Yeah, that's you. You read my mind. That's where my mind went out to thinking about the Swiss chocolate and Sable. Here, let me share this. So here's the Swiss chocolates. So these are Sables. This is Sable. I think where's the Swiss chocolate? I think one's a Sable, one's a Swiss, and then there's some combos here. So like you see, this one's really darker than
Yeah,
the either two. Like you said, you add super Arctic Swiss chocolate Sables. I mean, you're looking at a fully black snake, even the eyes at this point with the super Arctic.
that's very cool.
Yeah. So I'm really interested in seeing the Swiss chocolate evolve. Like this,
Yeah, that's super crazy.
It almost looks like getting close to the color of a Mexican black king.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool.
In ball pythons, is there a combo that creates a full black snake?
Not really jet black, but we can get close with like super mahoganies, which is a Suma, and there's a few genes out there that we can get a little close, but it's not jet black like a like a really black iridescent glowing look like that. We can't really get that as dark as you can with well, like you're saying, like a Mexican black king snake or something like that. You can't really get it that black yet, but we can keep working on it.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Add a couple more genes in there, and eventually I think you guys can get there with that. Um, I was looking at your Instagram right now. I see you guys have a lot of ball python stuff. We need to get more hognose stuff up here. You know.
Yeah, we can. Hopefully after
What's
this, hopefully after this hatchling season, we'll have a lot more to show because literally, like we've had 9 breeding females, we've had 9 males. Half of those are breeders, and but yeah, we just don't have a lot, so we just felt like showing the hognose. We're kind of showing the same thing over and over and over.
Mhm. Yeah. No, and I understand that too because now that I'm producing, I have babies. There's a lot more to show. More people are more interested in seeing what you're producing and what's coming out of these pairings. Even out of 9 breeding females, with hog noses, you get a lot of eggs.
And I wanted to give Chenny another year or two to make sure she likes the hog nose, like as far as taking care of the little babies and everything. Make sure she's successful with that part of it before we invest, some more in it. I wanted to make sure she was happy with it and doing well, being successful with it. And now that I know she can get them eating and keep them eating, she's got every one of our last year babies going really well. I mean, you'd be surprised at how much growth she's put on those this year. So I'm super proud of that. And we now we'll probably when we have babies this year, we'll probably release some adults and also some babies, and then really do some upgrading.
Nice. That's so you guys are hearing it now. It's if you guys are looking for adults, hog noses, keep an eye for Rice Reptiles. They might release some stuff that you guys are looking into. And then the babies too from this year. With both species that you guys produced last year, balls and hog noses, how was your sales compared to what you produced?
We couldn't do shows last year because our sales were so high. That's why we're not really connected to the shows and we haven't really gotten out to near as many shows as we'd like to. And it's just been our supplies not there. We had a lot of animals, but we also had a lot of customers, and we just appreciate everybody's support that reached out to us and has bought so much from us. It limited us being able to get out and see them at shows, but now we do have inventory because we're upping our breeding capacity a lot. So now we're going to be able to get out and see everyone and spend some time getting to know everybody.
I mean, that's a great position to be in, selling out and not be able to keep with the demand, and then what did that feel like when you guys, how many seasons of ball pythons you have already of breeding?
So nine years of owning them and about 7 of breeding them. That's counting having your first litter. We have 1 litter 1 year, or maybe 2, and then the next year we had like 5 or 10, and so I guess we were breeding them then accidentally or whatever it was happening. So then we dialed it in from there. So yeah, I'd say a good 7 years of being successful at breeding them, but as a business and being very serious about the business part of it, about 4 years.
4 years. So when did you have that moment where you realize, okay, this is something we can sustain and people are demanding our snakes? When was that moment?
4 years into it, I realized I wanted to make a very serious business out of it because we had taken care of enough snakes and had enough clutches. I think everybody goes through that filling it out period where you want to invest more money, but you're scared to invest more money because you want to make sure you have the care and the breeding down to where you're not going to make your animals sick or anything like that, where you got everything dialed in and you feel comfortable with the entire process, from care all the way to breeding, hatching, raising the babies, everything. So about year 4, about 4 years into it, we realized that. 5 years into it, we realized that we were really going to go just really heavy into investing in it because we just kept seeing the return on investment in it.
Great. So this question for Shannon. So timber industry or reptiles? Which way we're leaning?
I cannot
Rept-
picture my timbers. No.
That's
I don't
great.
blame her.
I don't blame her either. Yeah, I could definitely, I can imagine that's got to be some rough, hard work and labor. The timber
It's,
industry.
yeah, it's extremely demanding. It is good jobs and good hardworking people in the industry. It's great. It's a great industry. I love it. I never plan on getting out of the industry. I hope I slow down in it one day a little bit and do some more of this stuff. But it's in my roots. I'm second generation in the timber industry, and I love it. I mean, like last week, I was out. I saw some turkey eggs over the last few weeks, and I got to see like some gopher tortoise holes, and we were looking around for the gophers, and I actually finally found one. Most of them were empty, but I got to see gopher tortoises. It's fun. It's fun to get to see the wildlife that we get to see, and how much loggers care about that, and take care of the environment. You would be surprised how green that industry is. You think harvesting trees wouldn't be, but every time a tree is harvested, it captures carbon out of the atmosphere. When it's harvested, all that carbon is captured, and a new one's planted to grow and capture more carbon.
See, that's a great point of view that you don't hear about, right? Like the most people that work with nature, animals, plants, and stuff that care about the even though you're harvesting it, you care about it because if you don't maintain it, you don't care about it, then you're killing your business. Really, if you're just gonna harvest and not replant or maintain them.
And it's the same. It's the same as the reptile industry. You got those few bad apples that make the entire industry look bad sometimes, and we've seen all that here lately with a lot of the controversy on the internet and everything that's been going on with that. So, um, yeah, it's the same way with that. There's a few bad apples that make it stick out, but we go through a lot of things like the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and things like that we implement and we work with day to day to make sure that everything's there for our future, that the industry is never leaving and going to be outdated. There's going to be plenty of it's just a renewable resource that we can continue to utilize, and even in a greater fashion, to where more materials are being made to where we waste less and less of the material every single year. So it's just it's very fun to be a part of that, and I love the way it ties into with taking care of animals and things like that, because we do it every day in that environment as well.
That's great. That's a great point of view. Um, so with ball pythons and both, we were talking about both. What was the most like what was the biggest wall you hit with either ball pythons or hog noses, either in raising them or the breeding process that you had to really rethink the process or maybe change certain things?
The biggest wall that we hit, that was the question.
Mhm.
Um, so I would say we haven't really hit like any wall that's stopped us. We've had minor things like we didn't realize one time, and this is just in the past couple of years, that we had some temperature fluctuations in the room, and um, so what was happening is our thermostat in the room was just fluctuating 5 degrees, but that fluctuation with our rack heat for some reason was making the racks hotter than what they should be, like just 5 degrees of fluctuation. And I don't know if we just had a rare encounter of a few more slugs than normal, but we did have that issue, and I attribute it to that because as soon as the problem was fixed, any clutch that wasn't during that time frame, um, the problem went away. So we suffered a little bit of issues like that, and so another wall we hit that I would say is a wall is just not having enough males. Uh, that's definitely a wall you don't want to hit with ball pythons, because it's just so important to use your best males. But when they will not breed, it's a headache to put in something that's, so much less valuable. Not that the animal itself's valuable as its life and everything, but the quality of the clutch that you can have is it's just so detrimental to what you can produce. So I would say whatever you think is enough males, you hold a lot higher percentage of that back.
That's a very good point. Because I think even in hognose, it's sometimes you throw that male in and he's not doing the job. And if that's the only male you had to that parent, that female's not gonna go this year, right? I think definitely having maybe a 2-to-1 ratio on the male side might be important,
Yeah,
more important than having multiple females and one male.
yeah, it definitely wouldn't hurt to have. That's something we're definitely going to take a look at. We're gonna take a look at upgrading our hognose males a lot this year. We're really going to go through that and upgrade a lot, and just add new ones, a few numbers over what we have currently, just to make sure we don't have this issue next year.
Yeah, and the temperature issue that you had is probably because of the high temps was probably less sperm production by the males. That's one thing with my males. I keep, especially at breeding season, we keep at a lower temperature than the females, so they're not sitting on that heat, and their sperm burns off.
That's right. That's exactly what it is the sperm with the males, and we so I think with our males we do keep that rack turned down a little bit with our ball python males, and then with our male hognose though, the first year I thought that the time off was just them being young, because it was their very first year of breeding, even though they were 2 years old. It was their very first year of breeding females. So we thought the locks were just, new males haven't bred, because like literally like 4 or either 5 out of the 9 males we have bred, and the others didn't. So this year though, it was the exact same males did the exact same thing. So
Yeah, it's just that's part of it, right? I think it's you're gonna spend with males it's a little more forgiven because you spend a year raising them up, and then you can put them to the test and then try it again another year. um but you might run into those issues where it's just not a good breeder. And that's something hard, I think, where you got to think about, because it's you get attached to some of these animals too, right? And then the other hand, you are running a business, and just feeding a mouth and maintaining the animal time, supplies and stuff like that, does hurt your total production and all that stuff.
especially with daughters, because they get very attached to the animals.
Yeah, yeah,
She's attached to some of our females and some of our males in the ball python room, and some of the males are just super expensive males, that she thinks we got to keep forever now. And we plan on selling these guys and leveling up again.
yeah, that's true. It's funny because, like, with the mice, we picked up some mice a couple days ago, and my daughter was like, "Hold on, we're not gonna feed them. We want to keep them." I go, "No, we're feeding them." You know?
Yeah, we went through that. We had a few pet mice, and we went down the short lifespan of a lot of mice, and the heartache that comes with them not living very long. So they're just not a long-lived creature, and so we had those heartaches to deal with early on when Chenny was young. She adopted a mouse out of the rodent room, and it was just off limits. I'd have to put up for Christy in the rodent room a little tag saying this, don't touch this mouse. So even though he's a breeder, he just has to live here forever. So
He's lived pretty long though for us. He was like 2 years. They're not supposed to live like one.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a really
he lived a great life. He lived a long time, and she was so sad when he passed, and we had a rat the same way. There was a pet rat and a pet mouse, and now I try to keep her off limits out of the rat room and picking them because it's too short of a lifespan for a pet to me.
Oh, yeah, it's way too many heartbreaks too soon, too often.
That's the cool thing with the ball pythons or other a lot of the reptiles. You can keep one so long, like a tortoise will outlive you. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Sure. So you were producing mice and rats then?
Oh yeah, we have plenty of mice and rats.
Okay.
We have a 40 by facility of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you guys feeding? You guys feed live to your balls and your hog noses, or are you guys doing frozen thaw for hog noses?
Frozen thaw for all our hog noses.
Okay.
Yeah, and because they're just so easy with that, and it's so easy to do. And the hog nose are actually in our pool house, and so we're able to just keep it in the freezer there, enough supply for channing. We just bring over from the rodent facility, and then the gecko facility is kind of behind the rodent facility, and then our ball python facility is up here close to the house.
So you guys have everything separated. That's very important because sometimes I think people try to maybe do multi-species in one rack or in one same room, and it rarely works out because of the temperature fluctuations, feeding days, and all that stuff. I think it makes it a lot more difficult.
Every one of ours are all quarantined. You can't. There's a certain schedule that we keep on everything so that you're not going in one facility and doing things and then going into the other. We don't want any type of cross contamination or anything like that at any point. Not that we have any issues, we don't, but that's the way we want to keep it too. No issues whatsoever. We've never even, like, I'm a snake breeder for 9 years, and I'm very happy to say, and knock on wood, that I'm happy we've never even had mites yet. So I don't want to. I'm super happy.
That's great. Yeah. I think prevention.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said we've had a very good successful run with disease-free animals with nothing like. So we're so quarantined off with everything that we do, like with our ball pythons, especially with Justin being a partner with us now with Canova. Most of our animals come from him, so we're very in-house with most things. We only bring in some really nice projects, like we brought in Zebra from Adam Chesla. We'll reach out and grab some of the nicer projects out there. We have some stuff from Ozzy and a few other breeders, but we really isolate, especially the ball python room. It's very isolated from everything else because there's just so much in an investment there with them.
Yeah, no, I think prevention is the best step than having to deal with a outbreak of either mites, nidal, any other even just simple bacteria infections, right? Because that's a possibility too. Prevention.
I'm a firm believer in. I hope we waste at least 2 pallets of cocoa block a year, or Repti chips. What we use. I hope we waste 2 pallets of Repti chip a year. That's how clean we keep them. I want to make sure our animals are just of the utmost care, and we take a lot of time and put in a lot of effort in keeping ours extremely clean.
That's great. That's good. So, 2 girls and geckos. She said, we're talking about. She said hog nose and geckos, and they have them same currently room. No issues yet, but we'll need to separate soon, I think. Yeah, and then too, space is a big part of it, right? Being able to expand one certain species. Either you have to move out one species or decide I'm only going to do one thing, or makes decisions harder trying to figure out which way you want to go.
Oh yeah, with building materials like they are now, everything's so expensive. I mean, that's another reason why it's holding people back being able to expand and do things right now. It's what's limiting people to their growth right now. But that's why you save when we have another time where things are rolling good. People need to save their money, but also keep investing in things for when we have these bad times, because this is the time when people that invest are investing now. While some things are down, like reptiles and things like that, while the market has taken a little bit of dive, this is the time for investors to buy.
I agree. So if you were, jumping into either both ball pythons and hognose, you were gonna make your first investment. Did you get that?
You get froze for a minute.
Okay. So I was gonna say, if you were brand new to the ball python and hognose, and you're gonna make your first investment right now at this moment market, what would it be on both species?
On both species, if you could find Swiss chocolate available, now that you've showed me what you showed me tonight with hognose, I would want to invest in Swiss chocolate and more sable stuff, just so we can go into more lavender and albino projects. That'd be really cool. And I want to make some of those black snakes we just saw.
Yeah.
What would you want on the hognose side?
Probably, I really want. I like loose system. Okay, I like it.
Reese's?
One of the most expensive ones, but I like it. I really like it.
All right, so
And Yetis, I like Yetis.
yeah. All right, so on the ball python side, if I was going to make an investment now, if I could jump ahead like Justin, JP just bought Justin's. I forgot all the genetics in it, but I do know the recessives. A genetic stripe desert ghost clown, so the Kiki, basically a desert ghost Kiki project animal. I would do that because, and then I would also, I love the VPI Xanthic desert ghost clowns that Justin made. We have a VPI desert ghost, a VPI clown that's head desert ghost. So we're super excited to be breeding that. That's a project that I really love. That's a pure black and white snake. I mean, you just can't go wrong with putting black and white together in a snake. They're awesome. So that's things that I would invest in right now. And in pied, anything with desert ghost and pied, clown pieds, that's a good route to go.
Yeah. The pie gene, it's so interesting because it's been around for a long time, but it's still very relevant. You
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah. There's still going to be plenty of projects and new ways to go with it. Because that it is. We do need to find out new avenues to go with it. We're hoping that we may be able to hit some zebra pieds, and we're hoping zebra will move pied some and make some pattern in it. We have no idea yet what to expect. Um, it's going to be tough for it to do that in it. Maybe with pastel in it, it could do that. But we may find out. We have a girl we may get eggs from this year, and hopefully we can hit the odds and find out what a zebra pie is going to look like. Another good project to invest in right now is lace. You have lace and then you have white lace. That's by far one of the better investments in ball pythons right now. People's going to see it. It's already woke people up and people see it now, but it's really going to be. It's going to really going to blow some minds soon.
yeah, I've seen a couple pictures of the lace, and I've heard a couple people speaking about it, and it looks really nice. I'm not too familiar with all the ball python genes, but when I see lace and somebody shows a picture of lace, I can see what they're talking about. With the nice, that genetic. I think, and then with hog noses, I'm hoping we can find, like some more codoms or what's it called, or recessives that will move the pattern too. So I think that's one thing we're missing in hognose.
Yes, just genetic diversity is what we need in hognose to be able to build. It'll really, once we get to breeding these and we find more of these new morphs out there, that'll really push hognose through the roof on. Because everybody wants them now, and people are invested in them like crazy, and we have no problem selling them at shows. People want them as pets. They want them as investments. Collectors want them. Just all your three really top tiers of what people in the industry do. They all want the hognose, and that's what we need is just genetic diversity in that to really push that forward. And we'll get that. We just need time of breeding. The more pairing we do, the more we'll find genetic morphs in them.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, more like you said, more people breed them, and more collections are out there and start crossing certain genetics. We're definitely gonna be able to pop out some new stuff within the next couple years. I mean, might be every year. You never know. I know there's probably a couple people working on certain things right now. Keeping under wraps. Where probably in the next year or so, we're definitely gonna see some really cool stuff going on.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
there's definitely got to be a few projects going on behind the scenes right now that'll really open some things up. I mean, we that's even happening in the ball python industry. Many as many animals that we have in that, there's still plenty of genes behind the scenes yet that haven't made it to morph market yet.
I agree. I agree. And so that's one thing like where sometimes people say, "Oh, the ball python community industry, it's oversaturated." And is it really? Why would it? What's the meaning of oversaturated? Is it so many, or is there not people aren't moving animals? I think it's different.
I think the oversaturation right now is, yeah, there are more breeders right now. The demand's still out there though, but what's holding back demand right now is just the fact that people don't have the spending money that they had a few years ago. Um, there's a, there's just so much money going to inflated products right now that are just skyrocketed in price, like groceries and things like that. That the average person that wants to go buy, a pet or a collector type pet or high end pet, they can't put the money out there right now that they were putting out a few years ago, and
Yeah.
that'll change. That's only a year to a 2 year window of things happening that way.
So what are your advice, with price dropping and people getting desperate to able to move animals or stay afloat? What would be your suggestion for them?
Be consistent in investing in yourself if you can. If you have to survive during this time, survive during this time. Because if you're passionate about it and you want to be in it, you got to do what you got to do to be able to stay in business. But if you have the means, right now is the time to invest. Because what better buying opportunities are there going to be in this market? Because a few years from now, a lot of these projects are going to go up. All projects are going to go down as more and more of it's made. But there's plenty of projects out there doing ball pythons, and there's plenty of avenues yet unexplored for us to go with the animals. So many, once we hit triple and quad recessive animals, that it's going to take so much time to stack those animals that there's just so much left to do. Find a way to survive now and invest if you can.
I totally support that, that point of view because, um, you know, and one thing it's don't overextend yourself too, because if we do hit a lull where, you can't move, let's say, you hatch out 100 animals and you can only move half of them, have the plan to be able to sustain them too. Have that view of, okay, if I have to hold 50 animals, and am I able to feed them, put in the time to take care of them, not just think I'm gonna hatch 100 animals and they're gonna be sold within a month or two. Um, and I think that's when people start, either price dropping or start, getting desperate of maybe start selling adults or getting out of the industry when they can't move certain animals or they can't maintain their collection.
Yeah, and they're not giving themselves time to do so. You've got to invest in yourself in more ways than just buying the nice animals. You got to invest into your social medias, which is something hard for us to do right now, just with the time constraints we have with our other businesses and things. But then you also got to invest in your own educational avenues with how you manage the business and run the business from day to day. A lot of people don't give, they just want rewards now, and they don't give everything time to develop. If you have if you did buy a lot of animals and you have a lot of animals come to market right now, no, your animals probably aren't going to sell as good because you're a first time seller. Um, you got to realize that and continue to promote yourself and fight through those times, and you have the cash set away. But when you truly desire something, you're willing to work for it. So yeah, if it takes taking on an extra job or doing something else, if you want to make a business work, you make it work. You don't get denied by anything. You don't let anything stop you. You get out there and make it happen no matter what you got to do.
For sure. Like you were saying earlier, you're putting in 60 plus hours a week in the timber business before even the reptiles. But you didn't let that stop you with, okay, I don't have the time. You pushed yourself and your family helped. And I think that's very good encouraging words where you limit yourself to what your walls you're able to put up in front of yourself, right? Like you said, if you need to go get a extra part-time job or some of that to be able to reinvest money into this that will later on you'll see the returns on your investment, then you have to do that. um Getting out of it, I don't think, is the solution.
No, not if you're passionate about it and you want to do it. Now, you can use anything as a crutch to give up on something. But if you have the will to do something, you'll find a way. And and that's something that we've done as a family with this is we've just really pushed ourselves to make this happen, and we're not giving up. We're pushing on. We still do not take not one penny from our reptile business, even though we're 9 years in and have not made a dime, not one penny off of it. We still invest into our reptiles because we're constantly upgrading and adding and have not taken a dime, and we're happy to say that because the more the more we do with the reptiles, the more it's invested into itself. So now it's funding a lot of that. Where we funded it out of pocket, now we're more living off our money, and the reptiles are continuing to fund itself. And so then we got to a level with our rodent facility. We were doing everything, taking care of our rodents and everything. So then we hired a full time employee with the rodents, and then now we have part time help with the snakes, and then she part time helps with the rodents because we have so many. But so as we go, this continues to snowball, just like any other snowball, where you're creating a debt snowball to get yourself out of debt, to where you pay one thing off, then something else gets paid off. We're continuing to build on our investment in reptiles to where it continues to snowball and invest in itself. And now we have it fully funded. We really don't have to fund anything for it. It's invested in itself and growing what we see our future being.
And that's a very important part where, like, the first step should be that, right? Having the reptiles be able to fund more investment, maintain them, and then working yeah, put him down. Yeah, give me the thing. My co-host needs to go with her sister.
Okay.
So and then working to actually making making money off of after that. um how many more years do you guys think that you will be fully investing and maintaining the reptiles to, like, where you guys get a actual payback on it?
Um, we probably want to invest for another 4 years, maybe, before we start pulling it, because we want it to be. I mean, before we start pulling money out of it, because we want to fully fund this to the maximum, to where it's just something just unbelievable. And that's our goals. I mean, we want to make this by far the best thing that we possibly can make it.
That's cool. That's good. And did when you went to Justin's place and saw the way he runs and the size of their operation, did that set a certain goal for you, or did that, like, cement your thoughts of how far you can get to this?
Yes, that's what's crazy about it is Justin's facility was the first one I saw. So,
Okay.
and the way that come about was we were already meeting people at shows and buying animals and doing it as a hobby. Once we got hooked up with Justin, like as far as just that being a customer, we were a customer of his for I'd say a good 3 years before we ever decided, to work together. And so yeah, seeing the success that Justin had, I mean, it just fueled a fire. It fueled a fire to like with logging. I've been able to be ambitious and I've accomplished a lot in it. And I'm really happy with everything that I've done in the timber industry. And this is just like another avenue to be ambitious in, and not just in the monetary aspect of it and money itself. We want to be able to produce some of the greatest animals that can be produced, and it's just a passion and a goal of ours to not only really thrive as a business, but we also want to produce just the greatest animals that we possibly can. I mean, that's what led us to Justin, was we wanted to make sure I didn't trust my eye at the time for picking the highest quality of genetics. And it was very important to me if you're going to get a yellow belly, make sure it's a really good yellow belly. If you're going to get a clown, make sure it's a very good clown, because when you're starting out your breeding projects, you want to start out with the very best stuff that you possibly can start out with. And I didn't trust my eye, so I went with just 2 or 3 breeders that I knew had really great stuff, and I stuck with them with the buying process of starting up. And Justin and I, just cause the more I got fueled by doing it, the more I went there, the more we become friends. So we decided, after 3 years or so, we want to work together, and all of that got started. But we're super excited with that's. Like right now, I could stop and earn a living off my reptiles. I don't think anybody to think that they couldn't already be earning a living, but we've been highly successful, and we want to be even more successful with everything that we do. So just like not wanting to give up on logging and keep it forever, and maybe just limit myself to more managing in the future down the road as I get older in age. Because it is demanding physically. The same thing with the reptiles. We want to push it to as far as we can, so somebody can get into it and earn a living in it and do really well in it, like way earlier than what we have. We're just really wanting to grow it into something very special, and that's why we're willing to work extra somewhere else and continue to fund it.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And I think, us as the reptile community industry, we don't want to assign a dollar amount or a business label, because we're working with animals, something we're passionate about. But I think running it as a business and really like dialing in on the business part of it will set you off to the next level and be able to really work with these animals and keep on going, and without burning out financially and time wise.
Exactly, and even dialing it in on a business level. If we got $100 or $200 animal and it needs a vet or something like that, we'll pay whatever to have our animals seen about. We truly care about what we're doing, and we want to do it to the very best of our ability. And it's even though we are on a business level and we want to be very successful with it, it's very important to us to also take very good care of our animals, but also to produce the best animals that we possibly can. And so when you're starting up, I think that's something everybody needs to think about, is you really don't want to go out and find the best deal you can find every time. Find a good deal, but find one that is absolutely best quality animal of whatever animal you want to invest in. But buy good breeding stock before you start breeding, because even with these hognose, you see there's better examples of different morphs. There's better examples in every single reptile we have. It's very important to not worry about the best deal. If you see the best animal and it is at the best deal, buy it. But don't worry about the very best deal. Make sure you get the very best breeding stock when you start up. And then when you are first selling selling your first animals, if they're very good stock, you got a way better chance of selling them through a rough time like now. But don't give up just because you don't sell them right now. People want to buy from reputable breeders. You need some time to become a reputable breeder. So don't worry about it. Get discouraged if you have to go wash a few cars to earn extra money to feed those extra snakes for a little bit of time, or if you whatever you got to do a little more if you want to make your dream come true. And that's what we're doing with this. We're dreaming really big, and we're not taking the income on purpose just so we can build the dream even bigger.
I like that. I really like that mindset. I think more people need to be able to hear it and take it in because let's say don't give up so easy, right? I think sometimes, like you said, the instant gratification part of where we're at right now, it gives us a easy way out of certain things.
Yeah, we're definitely a mixed society. We're on social media, and we look at ourselves too much. We don't look as much into others as we need to. But that's a good thing about this community. There's plenty of people in this community that do care about a lot of other people, and they care about animals, and they care about other people that are investing in their animals. And they care about how people do after sales when they breed those animals, and it's fun to see people like the young people that are investing in our animals start having their babies and call us for ID or things like that, and then see them have successful sales after that. It just really motivates us because we all need each other in this industry, and there's plenty of room for more. These troubled times are just a short-lived moment in our life that we're going to get past, and you got to be positive through it, even though it's something slaps you in the face negative every day. You got to be positive, and we really got to push through it, and we need to bring everybody along with us.
I like that. So, I'm gonna start wrapping that up, and I like to ask this question because success means there's different levels of success, and different people are in different parts of their life. Like currently, with you guys, with you and your family, what does success look like in the reptile industry right now?
Well, with us, I think success to us is exactly what we have right now. But I want to further everything that we've done, but at the same time, just the family bonding moments that we get, that makes us successful. The love we have for it and for each other, that's making us successful. And then just seeing people, our family accomplish their goals, and then our customers accomplish their goals is something that's usually motivating for us. And that's when we feel a sense of accomplishment, is when all of that comes together as one.
I like that. Yeah. Except I think about that as so far as a consumer of purchasing hog noses is when I give an update sometimes to the people I've bought my hog nose from, and proving out certain heads. Like today, I messaged the person I bought the Arctic Lavender plus head albino, and it's like, hey, it proved out, and they were happy that it proved out for me, right? It's a full circle that comes around.
Absolutely. It's rewarding back and forth to everybody. And it goes down the whole chain of customers you have below you that are trying to build up to what you are. And then also the people that are higher than you that you've bought from, that it trickles down. It trickles up and down both ways.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And then, so I'm going to give my wrap up question. If you guys had 5 minutes with the attention of the whole world, what would your message be?
With the attentions of the whole world.
Yeah.
Autism awareness with our son. That would be our to understand kids and adults with autism and their needs, and to look outside the box and not have a narrow view of things and be accepting of others. And yeah, if I have 5 minutes just to change people's mind, I would want them to think different about autistic kids and adults.
That's a great message. Yeah. I have friends that have autistic kids now going into their teenage years, and we have friendship and family gathering and stuff like that. So my thoughts go out to you, and I know parents. I speak with them, and I know parents of autistic children put a lot of time and effort into giving them better life and trying to educate the people around them too.
Yeah, it makes you a better parent to see the struggles that your kid goes through and helping them with daily life. You learn to appreciate things that some parents never get to appreciate. So I would say, look at for anyone that's not in those moments to look at that and let that encourage them to be thankful and blessed, but at the same time be appreciative of the situations people are in with their kids, and reach out to help friends that you have like that. I mean, offer to babysit, do anything that you can do to help a family that's going through that, because sometimes parents need a break, they need a day, and volunteering your time for that can go a long ways toward helping some people.
I agree. I agree. Parenting is a 24/7 job,
Absolutely.
and it's a lot of work for people that don't have children and thinking about having children. It is a lot of work. It is rewarding too, to be a parent. It really is if you spend the time and effort into it, like anything else in life. You
We
Um,
appreciate you putting up with us with me sick with a cold, and both of us are sunburnt. We've been in Fort Lauderdale this weekend. We went and visited Adam Chesla. Um,
oh, nice.
yeah, so we visited him, got to see a lot of cool boas and rhino iguanas and monkey tail skinks and blue tongues, ball pythons. We got to see a lot of cool stuff this weekend, but we got burnt on the beach, and I got sick down there in the process. So I've tried to make it through this.
No, but it was a great show. I enjoy having you guys on. And like I had told you before, when we were initially setting this up, I definitely want to bring you guys back on. Maybe sometime later, well, next year when you have more hog noses and you've produced a lot more, so we can definitely dial in and talk about hog nose because my channel is definitely specific on hog nose. That's what we have and breed, and most of our audience is hognose.
Well,
I think
this
somebody,
here
yeah, go ahead.
is Chinese hog nose crazy. So I'm telling you, and I like them. I just can't handle the feeding part of the babies. But the rest of it, I absolutely love the species. They're absolutely, they've got like five different characteristics and their little personalities that you see. Like, I love the way the little attitude. I love the ones with the attitude. That's the ones I like. And but anyway, we do love them, and we will have a lot more of them now at Channing's. She's really dialed in the feeding of the babies, and she does like that part of it. I wondered, you know, with her being a teenager now, how much she would want to spend time with a hog nose that won't eat, things like that. And she's powered right through it. So we're definitely going to get a lot more hog nose snakes.
That's great, great. One of our followers, she's supported us. She said that she has a son that has autism, and a second son that has Down syndrome. So, like, your message definitely, I think, reached out to her, and um, you know, so
Yeah,
this is why I want to do this podcast to bring in and really get to know the people behind the snake, not just to talk about snakes and reptiles. It's like who are we dealing with on a daily basis in our community and stuff.
that's what I love about it as well. And we love being on podcasts, so we absolutely will be on your show absolutely anytime you want to. We've thoroughly enjoyed it, and Down syndrome kids are just God's gift. They're just truly a blessing. And I have a niece that has Down syndrome, and she's a great little athlete. She's doing great. So I understand what that mother is going through, and she's truly blessed with one of God's angels.
I agree. I agree. And like I said, our family members that are, friends that have children with that are artistic. Um, I think they're misunderstood because people are sometimes maybe uncomfortable around them and stuff like that. But if you really sit down and watch these children, these adults, and talk to them, um, they're brilliant.
It's
Um,
definitely hard to like just go somewhere and paint and people just automatically just judge Peyton. But like our close like family and friends, like once you get to know Peyton, like Peyton's like he's so sweet.
mhm.
He's very he's funny sometimes, he'll get you, but he's so sweet. Whenever you really get
Yeah.
to know him.
This is
So, are you older or younger sister?
I'm a younger sister. Peyton's 18
Younger
now.
sister. Okay.
this is like a mama bear right here, though. You won't mess with
I
me.
can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah, that's great. So like I said, thank you again for everything. Thank you for almost 2 hours, spending 2 hours with us talking, and having our audience listen to and giving great advice. Reptile business. I think you have a lot of business knowledge that you're applying it from one industry now to the reptile industry that people really want and need. I think within our industry right now.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do a podcast specific on business and how you've gotten business wise so successful in the reptile industry.
That we'll do any podcast you want to do, and
Okay.
just people need encouragement now, and the reptile community needs to continue to encourage each other. That's just don't bring people down and tear people down. Let's build each other up, and we're all each other's customers. If you look at ball pythons and other reptiles as like a pyramid, and I'm not talking about a pyramid scheme, but as a pyramid, one breeder is ahead of another, and one's below another. So we all can be each other's customers. We don't have to be each other's throats.
Correct. Yeah. So I want to end this with please support US Arc Florida, US Arc National. Go ahead and support Rice Family Reptiles on Instagram. Their link is in our description to their website and to their Instagram. And then follow us here on our channel, subscribe and like. Everybody have a good night. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you guys on the fourth Tuesday of this month. We have a hognose breeder and YouTube content creator. So stay tuned for that. And next couple weeks, I'll let you guys know who it is. Rice family, stay behind real quick. So everybody, good night.